Welcome to Shepherd's Coffee Talk. I'm Kathy Donovan with Elaine Charon. Noticeably absent again is Marlene Shepherd. She has packed her 14 outfits into that carry-on bag and she is on a well-deserved holiday. So Marlene, we miss you, but we're going to do something kind of different today.
Right. Well, I wanted to take the opportunity to get our viewers to find out a little more about our co-host, Kathy Donovan.
Thank you.
We're thrilled to work with Kathy here, and if you were born in Ottawa, live in Ottawa, you will have known Kathy for many years because she's enjoyed a wonderful career in broadcasting. I first heard her voice on Shea 106. I remember back, I think it was 1976.
Yes, it was, my love.
Something
yes,
of the like.
Yes.
And then you were on CJOH and on TV. And we got to see you every week, and you did the weather as well.
I did the weather, yes. I was a weather guesser back in the day.
Right. So you really impressed me, and then I got to meet you here one day at Shepherd's, and I'll always remember. And what struck me most is that kindness, that beautiful smile, that dynamic personality that we would see on TV and hear on radio is you.
Right.
This is you.
Right.
And so again, I would like it if you told us a little bit about, your journey.
My adventure.
Into where you are today. And then I think that you have a little bit of tips and strategies to help us combat the winter blues.
Yeah, well, not fight against it, right? We want to get into a different mindset about it. And that's really something I like to tell people, that today I love to help people unlearn what they think they know to be true. Because it's not true. But we'll talk more about that in a moment.
Okay.
And I appreciate your compliment because, I've known since I was 8 years old that I wanted to be a broadcaster.
Wow.
I was part of a children's radio show in St. John, New Brunswick.
Okay.
And it was such a magical experience. Well, we were paid in candy. What kid wouldn't want that? But
Sign me up.
It was really fun because it was magical. We went to this radio studio and we recorded songs and told stories, and then it was played back another day on the radio, and anybody in St. John could hear it. How does that work for a child? It was just beyond. So the seed was planted early for me. Plus, when I was doing the children's radio show, I was invited to present an award to a babysitter who had saved children in a fire.
Wow.
So I learned about this awesome experience. It really impressed me because it was really about public service, doing things just because it's the right thing to do. So that lesson stayed with me as well. And when I had the opportunity, I moved to Ottawa from Montreal, where I did most of my growing up. And Radio Carleton, CKCU-FM, was the first campus FM station in the country to sign on, and they were looking for on-air people, and I happened in the door at the right time. Same with Shea 106, I happened along at the right time. And then, so I developed a real passion for inspiring people, mainly with this message: you're not alone. Because that was how I felt when I was a kid growing up. I felt I was very alone. I was a troubled child, emotionally, really kind of a hot mess. In fairness, I did go to therapy when I was an adult and got it all cleaned up, but while I was a child, it wasn't fun. I didn't have that freedom that we think children do, and a lot of kids don't, but we smile through it. In any event, my job at CJOH, then CTV Ottawa, really was the most professional I had been, because when I worked at Shea 106, if you don't know what it is, it's a rock and roll radio station, and back in the day, it wasn't work. We were having so much fun, we just did what we wanted. And our universe of music was pretty well infinite, so we could choose what we wanted to and really project our message and our style through the airwaves, which was really special. But at CTV, it's a corporation, there are rules, and their television is a lot more complicated than people understand. I had the privilege of being part of the Regional Contact Storybook for 14 years with Joel Haslam. And those stories, people would joke because the show aired for half an hour once a week. And people would say, well, what do you do the rest of the week? Because they assumed it was just a half an hour of our time, when really each story together, the whole show took over 40 hours a week to put together. From screening and shooting the stories to editing, everything, writing, there's a lot more to it. And one of the things I like to say about broadcasters who are really good at what they do, they're like ducks. Because what you see on the surface is very calm, but underneath they're pedaling like mad to make it, just to get it done. and to make you feel like everything's easy. That's the sign of a real professional.
Exactly.
But from the people on Regional Contact, and I won't go on too long about this, but I learned so much about living your passion, about really doing what's in your heart to do. And I had another burning desire inside of me because I had this message, you're not alone. I wanted people to understand, not only were they not alone, but they're kind of mistaken about what they think is true. Because I had learned through my own experience that I had it wrong. I actually was enough. I actually was beautiful. And then I understood that our thoughts are really powerful and they actually create a result in our lives. That was my studying. I did tons of homework. I've researched for years and years and years through not only neuroscience, psychology, spirituality, what it means to be a human being. We have two pieces. One of them is spiritual, in other words, non-material. It's not got anything to do with religion. That's a separate subject. But it's also about being human. And the human side of us is all about protection and safety. Because back in the day, you know, we were living in the open plains and there were wild animals and so we're created in a certain way to stay protected. But we don't need that same wiring today, yet it still operates. And so many of us live invested in fear as opposed to being invested in courage.
Wow.
The only way to get what you want is the latter, through courage.
And you know, we see that a lot of what you're saying runs parallel with what we do here at Shepherds. When we're dressing women and, you know, they come in through the door, they're fearful of dressing their body shape correctly, finding the right garments, selecting the right pieces, that kind of thing. So it you know, the psychology bears fruit as well, whether you're talking about beauty inside or out.
Exactly.
What I really love about you as well, Kathy, is that when you walk into a room, we feel that positive energy about you. There's that brightness, that enlightenment. You're like the wise soul. So maybe that's why a lot of us come up to you and say, you know, I'm not having a great day with, and right away you come up with the strategy, the shift, the words that have a meaning and brings positivity around you.
This is not airy-fairy, this is science. This is real science we're talking about. It's actually quantum physics if you want to talk about energy, but we won't do that today because I'm not a physicist. But I am a person who's like a living experiment of all of this because I shifted how I saw myself. And when I shifted how I saw myself, the results in my life started to shift as well. So this passion brought me to write a book. After I left CTV in 2012 because I had this burning desire. I wanted to share with people that they kind of had it wrong. That if you focus your attention on these ideas, you'll get a different result. And the bottom line is a feeling of appreciation for everything in your life.
Yes.
If you have breath, you have a long list of things to be grateful for. And we think of that as kind of cliche and, oh, well, who, you know, whatever. No, this is the bottom line of what I call a happy life. Because when you appreciate what you already have, you set yourself up to attract more things to appreciate. It's how energy works, it's how law of attraction operates, but you have to make your heart and your mind and your soul and your spirit open to receiving. So I also talk about having courage. Courage allows us to open our horizons and experience what we really want in our heart. So every one of us has some kind of a heart's desire. The moment you start stepping toward it, that's when opportunity can come into your lane. And then you say yes to the things that are in line with what you want. And also, if we say yes to something and it's not the right opportunity, that is not a mistake. It's an opportunity to course correct and get clearer about what you really want. That's all it is. So I've written 2 books now. The second book was about courage because I really felt that as I was teaching this information around gratitude and courage and surrendering the stories that don't serve you and forgiving things for your own clarity and calm and peace, having healthy boundaries in your life so that you can protect the gold that you mine for when you know who you are. People said, you know, how do I get more courage? So I wrote a book that incorporated my story with about 25 other stories of people who have just taken steps beyond what they thought they could, and they got a great result. So I feel like we need this learning ongoing.
Yes.
So to get back to what you were mentioning about, winter is long, and I am a summer baby. I was born in July. I love summertime. I don't know about you.
I like winter.
You like winter?
Because I
Okay.
like winter fashion.
You see, now that's exactly what I was going to say. I feel like when we shift our mindset about something like winter, or maybe it's a mother-in-law or father-in-law, whatever it is you have to put up with, whatever is in your life that maybe you're like, oh, I don't know if I really like that very much. Find something about it to love. One small thing. There was a guy I used to work with many, many years ago who drove me cuckoo. The thought of him was like, one day I walked down the hall and I said, hey, that's a really nice tie you're wearing. Because I thought, I better find a way to say something nice. And the whole energy of our relationship shifted, and we got onto the same page. You see, kindness really is a superpower, just like courage, just like gratitude. It's a superpower. And when we nurture it, we get more of it coming back to us. The more we give, the more we're going to get. So to tolerate winter, mother-in-law, friend, whatever it is you're tolerating, find something about it to love. Find something about that situation that you can actually sort of almost celebrate. And you'll start to see it'll bother you less because you're not putting your energy into how much you don't like something. Focus on what you really want. When you're focused on what you don't like, you're actually focusing on the wrong thing.
Right.
Focusing on what's good, what's right, what's working is going to bring you more of that. So that's the stuff that I talk about.
That's wonderful. And it's something that, strategies that we can absolutely all implement in our lives.
Very easily.
So should we ask the ladies, what acts of courage have they taken in their lives? Because we always think that, the other person is more courageous than we are.
Yes.
But we all have shown acts of courage.
Absolutely. Right? And it doesn't have to be something, like climbing a mountain or, overcoming something. It isn't about that. It's about bringing more of who you are really into the world. So tell us, what courageous acts have you taken? We would love to hear your stories too.
Absolutely. Ladies, thank you. And Kathy, thank you so much.
Elaine.
I'm so happy we got this opportunity again to get to know Kathy because as we've said, we know and love her here at Shepherd's. So we're happy that we get to communicate.
It's a beautiful collaboration. It is really a wonderful collaboration, I feel, because we're looking at the inside and the outside. So it's sort of it's a holistic approach to beauty, really.
Exactly. So
enjoy your coffee. Have a great day.
Here's to winter.